welcome back to Animal Notebook. In today's explainer, we are going to build the ultimate field guide to demystify the incredible, complex biology of the animal kingdom. If you've ever wanted a unified way to understand animal categories and see exactly how every creature on Earth fits together with real examples, well, you are in the right place.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the animal kingdom's biggest divide, check out habitats, diets, and movement, dive into social lives and survival tricks, decode a full animal profile, and finally, look at the very real threat of extinction. Let's get to it.
I mean, just look around you. The sheer diversity of life on this planet is absolutely staggering, right? So how exactly do we create a systematic framework to categorize every single animal on Earth? From some microscopic, translucent mite crawling in the dirt right beneath your feet to a massive blue whale deep in the ocean. How do we make sense of all of this using one consistent set of rules?
Section 1. The animal kingdom's biggest divide. To build our notebook, we have to start with a fundamental structural split, and it all comes down to one simple defining feature: the presence or absence of a backbone. On one side, we've got the vertebrates. These are the animals with a spinal column, which forms the structural core of mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish. And on the other side, the invertebrates, creatures entirely without a backbone, spanning your arthropods, mollusks, echinoderms, and honestly, countless more. Now, if I asked you to picture an animal, you're probably going to think of yourself, right? Or maybe your dog or a bird outside your window. But here is a totally mind-bending fact. A staggering 95% of all animal species on Earth actually fall into that invertebrate category. Seriously, let that sink in for a second. The vast, overwhelming majority of animal life on this planet is completely spineless.
So, the crucial point here is this massive contrast. You've got this relatively rare 5% of species with vertebral columns. Think of your apex predators like lions, amphibians like frogs, or even salmon and pythons. Stacked against them is the massive 95% majority operating completely without backbones. And we're talking about creatures with some unbelievable adaptations here. This includes the honeybee with its complex waggle dance communication, the super intelligent puzzle-solving octopus, all the way down to the humble, perfectly adapted garden snail and earthworm.
Moving right along to Section 2, habitats, diets, and movement. An animal's habitat shapes literally every single aspect of its biology. Take a terrestrial animal just navigating the land and contrast it with a fossorial animal. Fossorial just means burrowing. Like a mole that is perfectly adapted with these crazy shovel-like claws to live its entire life completely underground in the dense soil. Or consider the extreme aerial habitat of the swift. This is a bird so perfectly adapted to the sky that it eats, sleeps, and even mates while in continuous flight. There are swifts that literally don't touch solid ground for 10 whole months at a time. Just wild. When it comes to diet, nature absolutely runs the gamut. And what an animal eats fundamentally defines its role in the global food web. On one hand, you have frugivores, like a vibrant toucan that primarily feasts on topical fruit, dispersing seeds across the jungle canopy. And then, on the much darker side of survival, you have terrifying parasitic feeders. Think of the infamous condor fish down in the Amazon, which literally feeds on the blood of live aquatic hosts. Basically, every single dietary niche you can possibly imagine is filled by something. Now, a really critical boundary in the animal kingdom is the metabolic divide, because your body temperature regulation completely dictates how much food you actually need to consume. As an endotherm, a warm-blooded mammal like you and me, you internally generate your own heat. That process requires an enormous amount of caloric energy constantly burning. But an ectotherm, a cold-blooded reptile, relies almost entirely on the external environment. They literally bask on a hot rock in the sun to warm their engine. And because they aren't burning calories just for heat, they need significantly less food to survive over long periods.
And then there's movement, which is basically a biological blueprint custom-built for an animal's environment. The variations here are just incredible. You've got the jet propulsion of a squid or octopus, actively expelling water at high speeds to dart away from danger in the open ocean. And on the complete opposite end of the mobility spectrum, you have sessile animals, like a barnacle or a coral reef polyp. These creatures remain entirely fixed in one single place for their entire adult lives, just relying on the ocean currents to bring food directly to them.
Section 3. Social lives and survival tricks. Let's start with when animals are actually active. You definitely know diurnal for daytime and nocturnal for nighttime, but there's another fascinating category, ephemeral. Many animals, including wild lions and yes, even your domestic cat currently sleeping on your couch, are ephemeral. This just means they operate on irregular, unpredictable schedules and can be active in short bursts at literally any time around the clock, totally regardless of the sun.
Socially, the animal kingdom is incredibly diverse. We've got categories ranging from solitary hunters, like tigers or octopuses that only ever meet up to mate, all the way up to eusocial superorganisms. Take the naked mole rat, for example. They live in massive underground colonies with strict divisions between a single breeding queen and dozens of sterile workers. Because they function almost like a single organism rather than individual animals, it gives them a massive advantage in defending their intricate tunnel systems and sharing scarce food.
And for defense, animals have evolved some brilliant mechanisms. Some rely on pure chemistry and a concept called aposematism. Basically, instead of hiding with camouflage, they use vivid, bright colors, like the famous poison dart frog, to boldly and aggressively warn predators, "Hey, do not eat me, I am highly toxic." Others, like the bombardier beetle, take chemistry a whole step further. When threatened, they actively mix chemicals inside their abdomen to violently release a boiling hot, highly irritating chemical spray.
Section 4. Decoding an animal profile. Okay, let's put all these categories together and actually decode some examples for our notebook. If we look at the African elephant using our new framework, we can check off the boxes. It's a massive terrestrial vertebrate. It's an herbivore, consuming up to 150 kilograms of vegetation in a single day. It's an endotherm. It's viviparous, meaning it gives birth to live young after a massive 22-month gestation period. And it lives in tight-knit matriarchal family herds operating on a cathemeral sleep schedule. By applying these specific tags, suddenly the whole animal makes perfect biological sense.
Now, let's contrast that massive mammal with the honeybee. When we run the honeybee through our categories, we get a diurnal, ectothermic invertebrate. It's a nectar-feeding herbivore that operates as a massive eusocial superorganism. We're talking tens of thousands of bees acting as a single, coordinated entity with strict caste divisions. So here we have two totally different forms of life entirely explained by the exact same set of categories.
Finally, Section 5. The threats of extinction.
Every scientifically described species is tracked on the IUCN Red List. This provides a sobering, standardized grading scale for global conservation. It ranges from species of least concern, the ones that are widespread and globally abundant, all the way down a sliding scale through vulnerable and critically endangered. And that scale continues until we reach species that are extinct in the wild, kept alive only in captivity, or, tragically, completely extinct, meaning no living individuals remain anywhere on Earth.
Which leaves us with a pretty critical choice. Now that you have the framework and the categories to truly understand these incredible creatures, what will we do to ensure they don't permanently disappear from our planet? As we continue to build out our definitive animal notebook together, how many of these pages will we allow to turn to extinct? It is up to us to make sure the pages stay full of life. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring the amazing world around you.